Good night. Good morning. Welcome to the press conference of the first day of the European Council Summit. Without any delay, I give the floor to the President of the European Council, Mr. Herman Rompuy.
Thank you. Good evening, good night again. I brief you on our progress in this European Council. We started with a discussion about general political developments and challenges in Europe in presence of the President of the European Parliament. Many colleagues also refer to the Nobel Prize as a tribute for the Union's past achievements and an encouragement for the future. Over dinner, we focused on the future of the Economic and Monetary Union. The interim report I circulated last week served as a basis. And tonight, our main priority was progress on the banking union. We also sought to clarify new concepts and to test the degree of support for various ideas in view of reaching conclusions in December. Let me start with the banking sector. In June, we agreed to break the vicious circle between banks and sovereigns. The urgent element now is setting up a single supervisory mechanism to prevent banking risks and cross-border contagion from emerging. And that's why the European Council called tonight for swift progress, with the objective of agreeing on the legislative framework by the 1st of January 2013. Once this is agreed, the single supervisory mechanism could probably be effectively operational in the course of 2013. When establishing this, several aspects need taking into consideration. For the European Central Bank, which will play a central part, there must be a clear separation between its monetary responsibilities and its supervision functions. The ECB should also be able to carry out supervision directly using national supervisors in regular supervisory tasks as much as possible. They will do it in a differentiated manner. Obviously, the SSM will be built and implemented with the integrity of the single market for financial services in mind. And finally, it should be inclusive and transparent. All member states are free and invited to join. This openness should be reflected in the governance structure, with appropriate rights and obligations for all participating countries. The SSM is a first essential step towards a complete integrated framework for the financial sector. Other steps also need to be taken quickly, starting with harmonizing national resolution and deposit guarantee schemes. During the transition period, as agreed in June, direct recapitalization by the European Stability Mechanism will be possible once an effective SSM has been established, and we're asking the Eurogroup to draw up the exact operational criteria. That was for the financial sector, but for a stable economic and monetary union, we also need stronger integrated frameworks for the budgetary matters and economic policies. On both these fronts, we have already done a lot, and let's put it in this way: if we fully use all our tools, the six-pack, the semester, the new excessive imbalance procedure, and so on, that will already be a major step towards fiscal and economic union. Yet to secure the Eurozone's long-term stability, we need to be able to better deal with economic shocks and spur closer economic convergence. Here, two avenues in my report attracted attention. They would improve the resilience of the economic and monetary union as a whole, and I received a mandate together with my colleagues to explore them further between now and December. One of those new ideas is that member states could enter in individual arrangements of a contractual nature with the EU institutions on the reforms they commit to undertake. It will be crucial for the new economic and monetary union to be fully legitimate and accountable. As a general principle, we all agree that democratic control should occur at the level where decisions are taken. It's also important to build this genuine EMU on the EU's institutional and legal frameworks and to make sure that it remains open and transparent towards member states outside the Eurozone. All in all, without a stable monetary union, there cannot be a stable European Union. Therefore, our goal is to make the euro fully stable financially, economically, and also politically. Finally, a few words on Greece. Prime Minister Samaras told us extensively about the situation in his country and the progress achieved to bring the adjustment programme back on track. I want to emphasise the appreciation around the table for the determination of the government and for the remarkable efforts of the Greek people. As you will see, euro area leaders issued a common statement that sends a clear message. And they are saying we also expect Greece to continue budgetary and structural policy reforms, and we encourage its efforts to ensure swift implementation of the programme. This is necessary in order to bring about a more competitive private sector, private investment, and an effective public sector. These conditions will allow Greece to achieve renewed growth and will ensure its future in the euro area. And tomorrow we will review progress on the important measures we agreed on growth and employment, and we will also discuss different items in foreign policy matters.
Thank you. President Barroso, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. Good night. This is indeed the first of three crucial European summits before the end of the year. And the central message I made tonight was that we need to deliver on our commitments. Firstly, we have agreed to have legislative decisions on the single supervisory mechanism by the end of the year. So in fact, till the 1st of January 2013. And let's not forget why we are acting in this matter. We are advancing in our response to the crisis, and now we need to definitively break the negative link between bank debt and sovereign debt, and this is urgent. Speed matters, and that is why the Commission put its proposal on the table within weeks of the June European Council. Delivering on this will give a very important signal to our citizens, our international partners, and to investors in general. Today we have discussed the main open issues on the adoption of the single supervisory mechanism, and the European Council has confirmed the key principles. We will now work to finalise agreement on the legislative framework before the end of the year. The European Central Bank will have a fundamental role, so a clear separation of supervisory and monetary functions is essential. The new supervisor will be able to intervene, if needed, in any bank in the euro area. It will be as inclusive as legally possible for non-euro area member states who want to join, and the integrity of the single market will be respected. Delivering this will enable us to honour the 29th of June agreement of the Euro Area Summit on direct recapitalisation of banks. And tonight we confirmed what we agreed in the June European Council. I now expect finance ministers to follow the positions of heads of state and government and work to complete the technical details as quickly as possible. Our second commitment is to give a clear long-term vision for economic and monetary union, and the discussion tonight, based on the report prepared by the President of the European Council, in cooperation with myself and the presence of the Eurogroup and the Central Bank, has allowed us to get a much clearer idea of the views of the Member States. It was a long, deep, dense, instinct discussion. As I said earlier, the Commission will set out its thinking in a few weeks' time in a blueprint for economic and monetary union. We will see this as a contribution to this process. And as you know, the Commission is a strong advocate of deeper integration, particularly for the euro area. This is urgent. The starting point must be to do this in a way that is open to all, that takes into account convergence with the member states that want to join the euro in the future, and that preserves the integrity of the single market. So this these principles should be respected in the future architecture of a genuine economic and monetary union. It's very important to state once again that the European legal framework and its institutions provide the right basis to take this work forward. I would like also to say a word about the issue of fiscal capacity of an economic and monetary union. To deliver lasting results, we need to develop a fully equipped community economic governance together with a genuine, credible fiscal capacity. We need a stronger and more binding framework for the implementation of key economic policies, in particular in the euro area, as the only way to prevent imbalances. And while much has been done here, for instance through the six-pack and the country-specific recommendations, further steps are crucial to combine specific conditions with specific incentives and to really make the economic and monetary union sustainable. This is, in fact, one of the instinct elements of these contractual arrangements between member states and the Union. This is something for the medium-longer term, where it would function as part of the incentives needed for countries going through the hard times of reforms. Therefore, this, like the fiscal capacity, has nothing to do with the preparation of next MFF, which we will decide separately and on its own merits next month. So overall, I think we had a good session. Much of the groundwork has been done for key decisions to be taken in the next weeks. Finally, let me say a word on Greece. I believe the euro area, as I said in the government statement on Greece, is indeed a very important document that was indeed approved in today's meeting. I thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Some early hour questions? Yes, Griselda.
Merci beaucoup. C'est Griselda Pastor je suis ici, pardon, de la radio espagnole Cadena Ser. Et on a entendu ce soir diverses interprétations de l'accord. Pour les uns, ça peut avancer très vite, pour les autres, peut-être pas tout à fait. Sur la question de la recapitalisation directe des banques, l'interprétation, c'est là où l'écart est le plus gros. Comme vous savez que c'est une question clé pour l'Espagne, j'aimerais bien savoir si vous pouviez nous préciser si de votre point de vue, avec cet accord, la recapitalisation peut commencer en 2013 pour certaines banques ou sinon.
Donc, sur la recapitalisation des banques, on a dit au moins deux choses. La première chose, c'est que les ministres des Finances doivent se pencher sur les critères exacts dans lesquels cette recapitalisation doit se faire. On ne s'est pas exprimé là-dessus. Et deuxième chose, on a référé aux conclusions du Conseil européen de fin juin, où le début d'une recapitalisation était lié à la mise en œuvre effective d'un régulateur ou un superviseur unique. Alors, ce qu'on a décidé aujourd'hui, c'est de préciser le calendrier dans ce sens-ci que dans nos décisions de juin, il n'y avait pas de date fixe. C'était, on envisage un objectif, etc. Maintenant, on a dit qu'il faut terminer le cadre législatif avant la fin de l'année, avant le 1er janvier 2013. Donc, il y a un objectif précis pour définir le cadre législatif dans lequel on doit travailler. Et la Banque centrale s'est engagée à travailler le plus vite possible pour, disons que la mise sur place effective de cette mécanisme, une fois que le cadre législatif a été décidé, et ça se fera au cours de l'année 2013. Ce n'est pas parce qu'on a voté une loi qu'on a immédiatement, le jour après, toutes les structures avec, je dirais aussi, tout le cadre logistique en place. Donc, mais on va travailler le plus vite possible. On a mis une date maintenant pour le cadre législatif, ce qu'on n'avait pas. C'est un progrès important. Et la mise en œuvre, bien, on fera tout pour que ça se fait le plus vite possible.
Merci. Yes.
Juan Saner Melando de l'agence espagnole Europa Press. Je voudrais insister à la question de ma collègue. Je voudrais demander si avec l'accord d'aujourd'hui, l'Espagne peut se bénéficier de la récapitalisation directe ou si ça va être seulement pour des récapitalisations dans le futur. Merci.
Je ne peux que répéter ce que je viens de dire, c'est que sur les critères de la récapitalisation, ce sont les ministres des Finances qui doivent en décider. Et donc on l'a dit en toutes lettres dans je cherche maintenant le point où on l'a mis, mais enfin en tout cas, c'est non seulement le sens, mais pratiquement littéralement de ce que je viens de dire.
See, next question.
Thank you. Ian Watson from BBC. I wanted to check just in terms of what has been agreed in terms of a timetable. Is the legal framework timetable the only, if you like, actual timetable that's been agreed, and is it the hope that the SSM will be functioning in 2013 and thereafter recapitalisation of the banks if necessary, or is it definitely the case agreed tonight that the SSM will definitely be established at some point in 2013, and as soon as it's established there can then be, if the finance ministers agree, direct recapitalisation of the banks?
No, repeating what President Van Rompuy said in French, now trying to say it in English, because in fact my text is in English. What we have agreed today is that we have, as a matter of priority, the work for the legislative proposals on the single supervisory mechanism, and the objective is agreeing on the legislative framework by January 1st, 2013. So the objective is to have the legislative framework adopted, agreed by the 1st of January 2013. Now, regarding the implementation of the SSM, because of course one thing is to adopt the legislation, another thing is to have the new system in place, what we have agreed is, in the text, the following. Work on the operational implementation will take place in the course of 2013. In the course of 2013. Following an information given to us by the President of the European Central Bank that said that was the reasonable time to have this work completed. So less than 1 year, but certainly more than 1 or 2 months. That's what he said. And then we have restated in very clear terms the conclusions of the 29th of June Euro Area Summit. And I can read it again. It is imperative to break the vicious circle between banks and sovereigns. When an effective single supervisory mechanism is established involving the ECB for banks in the euro area, the SM could, following a regular decision, have the possibility to recapitalize banks directly. This was restated. So what is new, as President Van Rompuy said, was now the commitment in terms of the objective for the agreement on the legislative framework and indication about the time frame for the implementation, operational implementation of the SSM.
Thank you. The last question.
Excuse me. Martina Stavis from the Wall Street Journal and Dow Jones. I'm here. Hi. I'm wondering if you had a discussion about what effective bank supervision means and how long a track record the bank supervisor should have before it can be established that it's working effectively. It seems that Chancellor Angela Merkel has just been telling fellow reporters that to be effective, it's not a matter of 1 or 2 months. It needs to be longer. Would you agree with that position?
But I can only read what is in the text, and we just repeated it in French. In English, I will repeat it again.
In Flemish.
Flemish is more precise. But here in the point 4, it is clearly stated, and the President of the Commission has just read it. I will read it again. With the objective of agreeing on the legislative framework by 1st of January 2013, work on the operational implementation will take place in the course of 2013. in this respect, fully respecting the integrity of the single market is crucial. So I can't give you a precise date because we have to establish this. We have to see this in a very concrete matter. But we are working with the objective. There was no objective for the legislative framework. We have now an objective. And then the central bank will do its utmost to establish as soon as possible the supervisor and to have an operational body. And once this is effective, then we can start the discussions on the recapitalization of the banks. In the meantime, the Eurogroup will discuss all these criteria of the recapitalization, and when we have an established supervisory mechanism, I think they will be ready, of course, with those criteria, and we can go on with the recapitalization.
Okay, thank you. After all those precisions, I wish you a good night.